Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Water Juice channel, and welcome back to the final episode of the 2012 Cleveland Browns rebuild here on Madden 24 on the PC. That is right, we have reached the conclusion. We wrapped up the Giants rebuild in 2015 a few episodes, probably a few weeks ago at this point, and it's time to wrap up the 2012 Browns rebuild. This rebuild has been really, really fun because, well, one, we've been dominating for a while now, so that's obviously helped the fun. But two, because we've had so many different players, we've kept the team around for a long time, a lot of the same people, and we've just seen them develop. That's been the most fun part, is to see some of these guys develop and turn into really, really good players. Like the most important one, our quarterback, Johnny Manziel, who we took from a bum to a 99 overall X Factor, who is arguably the greatest of all time now at this point. So we have won, three Super Bowls in a row, or is it 4 Super Bowls in a row? I don't remember now. I haven't recorded this episode close enough to the last episode to remember how many Super Bowls in a row we've won. I know that we're on at least 3, possibly 4. So this is either going to be our 4th or our 5th championship to end the video, or to end the series. At the end, we will recap some of the career numbers from some of our most favorite players, including Johnny Manziel, a lot of these guys, and we'll take a look at some of their all-time career numbers and see where they stand on the legacy leaderboard, all that kind of good stuff. But we got to get there. So we won't go to the offseason. The final stuff that we will see is the Super Bowl. We won't have an offseason. We won't have a draft. We won't have anything like that. It'll be the Super Bowl, and then we'll wrap up the video after that. So if you guys want to see more of this style, I just bit my tongue. If you want to see more of this style of rebuild, where it's a long-form series type of rebuild, instead of just a team rebuild per video, like all the rebuild is in all one video, like I sometimes do. So if you want to see that, let me know. But if you want to see this type, let me know as well. Pick your team, who you want to see me take on next, and then we could possibly do it in the future. So without further ado, it's time to wrap up what has been a pretty good series now that we've won a few championships in a row. I was getting a little bit worried there that we weren't going to win one, but we've won a few now in a row. So hope you guys go and enjoy. If you do, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's get started wrapping up this final episode. So this is what the team will look like one final time. Obviously, we have our main man, our go-to guy, our franchise quarterback, Johnny Manziel. 10 seasons he's been in the league, 99 overall, superstar X Factor. He's got every ability you want him to have. He's a multiple-time Super Bowl MVP. He's a multiple-time champion. He's never won a regular season MVP, but who needs individual awards when you've got championships? Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones are our 2 trustworthy running backs. Wide receivers have kind of gone down a little bit. We've had DK Metcalf in the past, but we couldn't re-sign him. Didn't have the money to. But we have Stephon Diggs, we have A.J. Brown, we have Puka Nacua, we have Rashee Rice. So we have 4 pretty solid receivers that I trust. We just don't have like the huge names that we've used to have in the past. Offensive line looks pretty decent, except for John Michael Schmitz Jr. is now the starting center because I forget who our center was previously, but we either couldn't pay them or they retired. I don't remember who it was. I think we couldn't pay them is the problem. So we had to get a new center, and John Michael Schmitz was here last year as a rookie. He did pretty well. And then Taylor Moton is the right guard, but everybody else looks pretty good. We have Michael Mayer at tight end, the only tight end we have, I think. Or the only tight end that matters. And then the defense. The defense has taken a big hit, especially the linebacking core. That is for sure. We've lost TJ Watt. We've lost Fred Warner. We've lost Reuben Foster. We've lost Kevin Pierre-Louis. I mean, we lost so many different players on this team. It's very different. But we got Steel Chambers from last episode in the draft. We got Drew Sanders. We got Nick Bolton, who was a huge addition to get a couple years ago. if we didn't have him, then this linebacking core would be unbelievably bad. And then we got Derek Hall. So Nick Bolton's going to have to do a lot of leadership, a lot of stepping up. Defensive line's obviously fantastic with Clowney, Donald, and Garrett. Corners are pretty good. They don't look as good as they used to, but they're pretty good. We got Jalen Ramsey, we got Tariq Woolen, Desmond King, Deron Bland, Riley Moss. They're serviceable enough to get the job done this season. And then we've obviously got Javon Holland and Cam Curl with Talanoa Hufanga and Budda Baker as the backups. So we're pretty solid on the defense. We've taken a few hits, but we should be good enough to get the job done this season and get back to a Super Bowl. I hope, at least. I will auto-generate a draft class just for the sake of it, but we're not going to go into the offseason, so the draft class doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm going to simulate the season. We're going to figure out how we do in the final year and see if we can, one final time, bring home a Lombardi trophy. The final season is wrapped up, and we weren't as dominant as I would have maybe liked. I mean, we still were the number 1 seed in the AFC. We still won the division, and we still went 14-3. But we've had better records than that in this series, and we weren't as dominant as maybe I would have wanted us to be. But still, can't complain too much. It was still a very, very good season, obviously. How did we do? Final season stats. We had 4,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 5 picks from Johnny Manziel. He's just cementing himself as the greatest of all time. He's done it. He's got the Super Bowls. He's got the regular season stats. He's the greatest. He just doesn't have an MVP. But he's the best. 71% completion percentage. He's just doing so well. Rushing, Derrick Henry finishes with 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. Very solid, respectable season from Derrick Henry. Stephon Diggs had 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns. Unbelievable. 1,000 yards and 2 touchdowns from A.J. Brown. 700 yards and 6 touchdowns from Puka Nacua. 600 yards and 5 touchdowns from Michael Mayer. Then we go to the defense. Nick Bolton has 127 tackles. Budda Baker has 90. 81 for Tariq Woolen. 77 for Cam Curl. Tackle for loss leader was Myles Garrett with 20. Clowney had 16. Donald had 14. Sack leader was Clowney with 17.5. Garrett had 12 and 11.5 for Aaron Donald. That's what I like to see. That's the combination of defensive linemen that I like to see with the production, because all of them had over 10 and they all dominated, especially Jadeveon Clowney. He had a really, really good year. A couple guys had 2, a couple guys had a half. Jalen Ramsey led the team with 4 picks. Cam Curl had 3, a couple guys had 1. So that is the end of the season and the stats. Now we got to get through the playoffs. We take on the Oakland Raiders in the divisional round. Can we beat them and head to another AFC title game? We can. It's against the rival Pittsburgh Steelers, so this is not going to be very easy, but we should get the job done. It's 1 versus 5, and then a 5 versus 7 on the NFC side of things, so that's really useful for us, because if we beat the Steelers, which we probably should, then we get to take on a somewhat easier matchup than we could have. I mean, we could have played the Eagles, who are the 1 seed, so that's nice. Yeah, but I think we should be able to pretty much walk through the Steelers. They're number 5 seed. They shouldn't really give us much threat. I mean, I'm assuming we beat them twice in the regular season. That doesn't have to be true because we had 3 losses. They could have had 1 of them. I don't know. But we should be able to beat them pretty easily. Steelers-Browns, divisional matchup, divisional rivalry for a trip to the Super Bowl in the final season. Just barely. 27-24. We get it done in the AFC title game. And for the final time in the rebuild, we will play in the Super Bowl against the 9-8 New York Giants. Were they the lowest seed, or was it the Cowboys? I don't remember. It is the Giants. 38-27 too, so it's a 7 seed in the Super Bowl against us. Okay, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. We should have this in the bag, but, I mean, they got Joe Burrow, as you can see, 5,100 yards, 41 touchdowns, 9 picks. They're not a easy team by any means, but, I mean, they may only have Joe Burrow. We've got Joe Burrows across the board. So let's go and win this final Super Bowl and then bask in the glory as we wrap up the video. Final Super Bowl of the series. It's back and forth right now, 0-0. Giants put up a touchdown. Come on, offense. We need to get going here. There's a field goal. We need to pick up the pace. Let's go, boys. There we go. Touchdown. Into the second half. Giants put up another touchdown. We put up a touchdown, 17-14. I'd like to see us take the lead a little bit further here. 23-28, fourth quarter action. And we lost. We lose the Super Bowl in the final season. How fitting, right? We couldn't just go perfect, could we? It couldn't happen. They had to do me disrespectful like that to wrap up the video, or to wrap up the series. Joe Burrow gets a Super Bowl. Congratulations to him. Yada, yada, yada. Who cares? Nobody likes you. That's frustrating. We couldn't just end the series on a high note. We couldn't just win a championship and be done with it, could we? They had to screw me. Madden had to screw me one final time before sending me out the door. Unbelievable. So we will simulate one final week to get to Super Bowl recap, or season recap, I should say. And then we will take it from there. So let's upgrade these players for the final time. All these practice squad boys. And then we will go into the season recap. Here we go. Joe Burrow wins MVP of the Super Bowl. Johnny Manziel is MVP of the league. Did he get it for the first time? I think he might have. Brandon Cooks and Micah Parsons are the offensive defensive players of the year. And then J. Michael Sturdivant, I don't know who that is, but he's a wide receiver for the Eagles. He won offensive rookie of the year. And then Jalen Ford, middle linebacker for the Panthers, won defensive rookie of the year. I'm pretty sure that's the only MVP award Johnny Manziel won. I could be wrong, because I might have just forgotten one. But as far as I know, that's the only one. Let's recap the series. So we started in 2012. The first Super Bowl was won by the Patriots and Tom Brady. We didn't have any awards. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. Then in 2013, Rodgers won another MVP, and the Panthers got the Super Bowl over the Patriots. Cam Newton got the MVP. Then the Patriots go back and have a rematch with the Panthers, and Brady gets them this time. Aaron Rodgers wins his third straight MVP, and Aaron Donald won Defensive Rookie of the Year, so that's one award for the Browns. Aaron Rodgers wins a fourth straight MVP. Stephon Diggs wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, so that's two awards for the Browns if you're keeping track. And the Colts get the Super Bowl. Then the Ravens take home a Super Bowl Joe Flacco. We don't win any awards this year. Then it is us in the Super Bowl for the first time. This starts our unbelievable stretch of bad fortune and bad luck, losing a bunch of Super Bowls. We lost to Matt Ryan the first year in 2017. We didn't get any awards. Then we go to 2018. We lose to the Carolina Panthers, who were pretty good in this series. Jarvis Landry gets the MVP. Rodgers gets another Super Bowl, or another regular season MVP. And Aaron Donald wins Defensive Player of the Year for the first time. So that's 3 awards for the Cleveland Browns. Then in 2019, we lose to the Eagles, with Marcus Mariota getting the MVP of the Super Bowl. Donald went back-to-back on the Defensive Player of the Years. 2020, we lose to the Seahawks. Unfortunately, we probably should have won that one, but whatever. We didn't get any awards this year. 2021 was our first victory, a rematch over the Seahawks, and Stephon Diggs gets Super Bowl MVP. Aaron Donald gets his third straight Defensive Player of the Year. So Aaron Donald seems like he's solidified himself. Then we go back-to-back. Johnny Manziel gets Super Bowl MVP. We get our second Super Bowl, and Stephon Diggs gets Offensive Player of the Year. 2023, just last episode, we got our third straight Super Bowl. So it was 3 what I initially thought was right. And we shut out the Washington. I couldn't believe that. I still can't believe that. Johnny Manziel gets another Super Bowl MVP, and we get our third championship, and we don't get any awards other than that. And then this year, we don't get any awards except for Johnny Manziel winning MVP of the league, which is now, in fact, the first one. And we win our third Super Bowl. We lose to the Giants, but we make, 7 straight Super Bowls? Is that right? Hold on, let me go back to 2017. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight Super Bowls. We won 3 of them. That's not a great split, but what can you really do? I mean, we should have won 4, to be fair, but we lost to the Giants. Whatever. So a final look at the team. Johnny Manziel played amazing. Derrick Henry was a really good addition. We had Trent Richardson for a little bit, but we moved on from him, and we drafted Derrick Henry, and we hadn't looked back since. Wide receivers have been shuffling in and out, but Stephon Diggs has been a mainstay since we got him. A.J. Brown's developed into a pretty solid receiver. Rashee Rice and Puka will become really solid receivers if we were to continue to simulate. Offensive line, we would need to probably fix this center right guard spot, but for right now, it's good, and we're not going to move on anyway, so it's good enough. Michael Mayer, good tight end. On defense, wow, no development upgrades except for Buda Baker goes from superstar to X Factor, which is cool, but no development upgrades other than that. The linebacking core was able to hold out enough, but I feel like they couldn't do it against Joe Burrow, which is probably one of the big issues of why we lost that game. I feel like they were most likely the big reason, because there's really no other weaknesses outside of the linebacking core. So I feel like that's probably the biggest problem why we lost that game, the Super Bowl against the Giants. But this defensive line was the reason why we were so good on defense, and getting Jalen Ramsey as well. But this defensive line was the real reason. Getting Myles Garrett to pair alongside Aaron Donald is insane in its own right, but then adding Jadeveon Clowney as well is also insane. So I'd say we had the greatest defensive line of all time. It's pretty fair to say that. So before we end the video, let's take one final look at some of the good stuff. So let's take a look at the legacy leaderboard. We finished as Pat Shurmur, the head coach. We finished with a legacy leaderboard score of 15,000 points. We had 3 Super Bowls, 8 AFC titles, and 3 yearly awards. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good season. We jumped Madden by 5,000. Then in the quarterback market, Aaron Rodgers obviously dominated because he didn't win any Super Bowls or any NFC titles, but he had like 19 million MVPs for some reason. Russell Wilson's in second. Johnny Manziel finishes as the 4th best quarterback in NFL history in terms of this universe, with 3 Super Bowls, 8 titles, and 17 yearly awards. He almost passed RG3. He probably would have got there with another season, but it would have been very difficult to pass Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I don't think we would have got there. Running backs, Derrick Henry finishes 4th as well. There's Trent Richardson. Looks like he's not on a team anymore, but he didn't have any Super Bowls, unfortunately, but he was a very good running back for us. But then we got Derrick Henry, so he obviously was the best. Aaron Foster is the best running back and made the Hall of Fame. Best receiver is Justin Hunter. Okay, whatever. He's the top receiver in terms of legacy leaderboard score. Then you got Odell Beckham Jr. You got Stephon Diggs right there. Calvin Johnson's down the board a little bit. I thought he'd be a little higher. There's DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. All right, some interesting players up there. Rob Gronkowski is the best tight end of all time. No surprise there because he was on those Patriots teams early in the series, and he's still on the Patriots, but they were winning a bunch of Super Bowls and playing in a bunch of AFC title games, so that's why he's up there, and he had a bunch of yards, I would assume. Then Jimmy Graham, Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz. Travis Kelce was our tight end for a long time. He is 3rd, and obviously we're not going to see Michael Mayer up there just yet because he hasn't been in the league long enough. Left tackle, Anthony Costanzo is the top left tackle of all time. Then Ramchek's 4th. We're getting a lot of guys that finish 4th for some reason. The best left guard is Kelechi Osemele. Okay, very interesting. Best center is I think it's Matt Burke. I'm not 100% sure who that is, to be honest with you. Travis Frederick is our former center. He is the 2nd overall player at center, but we had to lose him because of salary cap restrictions. The best right guard is Brandon Sheriff, no surprise there, along with Taylor Moton. Quentin Nelson's right there, so we had the top 2. That's awesome. Then the right tackle is Brian Bulaga with Mitchell Schwartz. And Tristan Wirfs is 4th. Again, we just dominate the fourth spot in legacy leaderboard, I guess. Khalil Mack is the most dominant left end in NFL history. Leonard Williams, J.J. Watt. Okay, no Browns players up here, but I guess Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney are both considered right ends. And there's Aaron Donald at D tackle by a mile over Ndamukong Suh, Geno Atkins, everybody else, which you would expect. He's the greatest of all time. And then right ends, Muhammad Wilkerson leads everybody. Then Jason Pierre-Paul, Bradley Chubb. There's Clowney. Then Parsons and Garrett. I feel like Parsons and Garrett, or Clowney and Garrett would get there if we kept going, but we're not going to. So Clowney finishes 4th. Surprise. Von Miller is the best left outside linebacker. Then Ryan Kerrigan, Justin Houston, Dante Hightower, who I thought was a middle linebacker, but I guess they consider him a left outside linebacker in this mod, whatever. Middle linebacker is John Beeson, Navarro Bowman, Kiko Alonso, Bobby Wagner, No Browns players. That's okay. Then right outside linebacker is Luke Kuechly, the best one. Current Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo is second. There's Kevin Pierre-Louis, who was on our team. Best corner of all time is Richard Sherman. No surprise, he was on those Seahawks teams. He's going to be up there. Then Sean Smith, Desmond Trufant, Stephon Gilmore, Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu got drafted in this series, and he's already made himself up to the top 5. That's pretty good. Pretty good. We don't have anybody because Ramsey is 13th. I thought Ramsey would be a little bit higher, but I guess not. Free safety, the best one is Earl Thomas. Then you got strong safety, Cam Chancellor. Not a surprise. Not a shock at all. Best kicker is Dan Carpenter with Justin Tucker right behind him. Then the best punter is Thomas Morstead, Johnny Hecker, and then we're back to the head coaches. So that is what the legacy leaderboard looks like. Any big-time NFL records? Aaron Rodgers had 5,700 yards passing. That is kind of crazy. He broke the record. Okay. Touchdowns, Joe Burrow had 53, which is awesome. Good for Joe Burrow. That's when he won the MVP, I'm assuming. No rushing yard beater. I said that weird. Nobody that led the league in rushing yards or eclipsed the all-time rushing record by Eric Dickerson. The years are wrong because the mod starts in 2012, so it pushes everything else back. That's why LaDainian Tomlinson says it's 1995, even though we know it's not. But nobody could pass his record of 28. Receiving yards, Justin Hunter. No wonder Justin Hunter is the best receiver of all time or whatever, because he had 2,100 yards in 2017. Okay, I see you out here, Justin Hunter, going crazy. Then you got receiving touchdowns. Nobody could pass Randy Moss. Allen Robinson got close, and so did Brandon Cooks, but nobody could pass Randy Moss. And then catches, nobody's going to pass 149 from Michael Thomas. Aaron Donald got 25 sacks, which broke the record that Gerard Mayo set a couple of years earlier. And then Deion Jones got 24. But we lead with something. That's nice. We get a defensive record of all time. And then nobody could get more than 14 sacks or 14 interceptions. Final thing to look at is the career stats. So Johnny Manziel's entire career played out in this series. So these are his career numbers. 49,000 yards, 333 touchdowns, 89 interceptions, and a career completion percentage of 70%. He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. We certainly would not have been where we were in this series, going to as many Super Bowls, 8 straight Super Bowls like we did, if we didn't have a quarterback as good as Johnny Manziel. Running back wise, or rushing wise, we had 11,300 yards from Derrick Henry and 123 touchdowns in just 9 seasons, or 10 seasons maybe. Then 5,000 yards and 92 touchdowns for Johnny Manziel. That's nice to see. The quarterback getting over 5,000 rushing yards and almost 100 touchdowns through his entire career is pretty nice to see. Aaron Jones also put up 2,600 yards and 61 touchdowns. Receiving numbers. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is going to blow everybody else out of the water because he's been here the longest. So he has 13,900 yards with 121 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown has 4,000 with 20 touchdowns. Derrick Henry has 2,000 yards with 20 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 1,600 with 8 touchdowns. Puka has what he had this past year, I think. No, this is his numbers because he's been here for multiple years. I thought for some reason I thought he's a rookie. I don't know why, but he has 11 touchdowns. Michael Mayer, pretty good. And then Rashee Rice. Blocking wise, Ryan Ramczyk allowed 58 sacks through his entire career in 136 downs or 136 games played. Brandon Scherf with 34, Tristan Wirfs with 34, Taylor Moton with 26, John Michael Schmitz with 7, and that is your offensive line. Defensively, 820 tackles for Aaron Donald is crazy. Especially a D tackle. 670 for Ramsey, a clean 600 for Jadeveon Clowney, 496 for Budda Baker, 453 for Myles Garrett, 404 for Cam Curl, 367 for Bolton. Some big numbers for the boys. The tackle for loss leader is Aaron Donald. He's going to lead all these numbers. He's been here the longest. He's the best. He's just going to dominate all these stats. 187 tackles for loss. Another crazy stat for a defensive tackle. 163 for Clowney, 107 for Garrett, and then 17 for Ramsey. And the sack leader, again, no surprise, by a mile, is Aaron Donald with 184. Then Jadeveon Clowney with 93, even though they played the same amount of time. That's a crazy difference. And then Myles Garrett comes up with 58. Judon had 5.5 for some reason. And then Bolton had 3. The pick leader was Jalen Ramsey. He's been here one of the longest of the entire series. And he had 27 in his career. 27 picks in his entire career. Wow, that's insane. And then Cam Curl had 7. Budda Baker had 6. King had 6. A few guys had 3. A couple guys had 2. Kicking for Evan McPherson. He kicked 72 field goals. 83% career completion percentage for field goals, or field goal percentage. He had 2 field goals blocked. He kicked a 57-yarder at some point. He had 1 extra point blocked, and he missed 1, it looks like. So he missed 2, but he had 1 blocked for a 99% completion percentage. Or, why do I keep doing that? 99% extra point percentage. No kick return touchdowns in the career. No punt return touchdowns in the career. And then we're back to the beginning. I do want to take a look at career numbers for Aaron Donald, because I'm assuming he's going to be up here. So passing numbers, nobody's going to be here except for maybe Aaron Rodgers. Career rushing, nobody's going to be up here that I notice. Trent Richardson actually is 14,000. Okay, that's something new. Rushing touchdowns, Derrick Henry, 123 is up there. So is Trent Richardson. That's good to see. Receiving, Justin Hunter in career catches is right there, number 3 all time. That is maybe the craziest stat I've ever seen in my life. Whatever. Good for you, Justin Hunter. He's right there behind Jerry Rice. He is second all time in receiving yards. He is second all time in receiving yards. And this is funny. One of these is the real life Larry Fitzgerald. The other is the Larry Fitzgerald from this universe. And they basically did the same exact thing in their careers. That's kind of crazy. That's actually pretty funny. But Justin Hunter is the greatest receiver of all time, I guess. Receiving touchdowns, he didn't get a ton of them, 152. I say didn't get a ton, that's still a lot, but not as much as Allen Robinson got, I guess. 161. Defensive sacks, Aaron Donald finishes 3rd all time with 184, right behind the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, and then Bruce Smith with 200. Luke Kuechly's right there, Von Miller's right there, J.J. Watt. That could be the real life J.J. Watt, though. I don't know. But nice to see Aaron Donald right up there at the top with 184. I thought he'd be close, but he doesn't get the overall. And then I guess I was completely wrong about 27 interceptions being a lot, because Jalen Ramsey doesn't even get close to the record. Darren Sharp had 63. That's the lowest. So I was wrong. I thought that 27 was going to be a lot, but I mean, it is a lot, but it's not as much as those guys had in their careers. And that's going to be it. That is going to be the end of this series. We're not going to go in the off season. We're not going to do any of that stuff. This has been super, super fun. We won 3 Super Bowls out of 8 tries. Not a good percentage, if we're being totally honest, but hey, we got there. We got our championships. It's a successful series because we won multiple championships. So both the Giants and the Browns end up being successes. We have completely changed their histories. We have turned the Browns into a dynasty that is contending for multiple championships and contending to be one of the best dynasties of all time. We changed the Giants' history. We won multiple titles with them. We drafted Patrick Mahomes. We did a bunch of stuff in both of those series. So if you missed any of these previous episodes, make sure you go back and watch them. There is a playlist for this one linked down below in the description. Also, the playlist for the Giants series is just on my channel. So if you want to go watch that, if you missed any of those episodes, or if you haven't seen any of those episodes, you can go back and watch that. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said at the beginning, if you have any suggestions for if you want to see me do another long form type of rebuild like this with another team, whether it's in 2012 or 2015, let me know down below in the comments, and I will take that on. But that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.